Hello, welcome to Human Tech, a podcast about the intersection between humans and technology. I am here today in person with Susan in our studio in Wisconsin. Hello, Susan.
Yeah, we're in the same room.
We are actually in the same room, which is very exciting. So I know recently we've done a number of podcasts that were kind of relevant to the election and some of the political and cultural stuff that was going on. But that's over, and we're done with that, and we're rolling into brain science.
Yeah, actually.
Swinging violently and back to our bread and butter.
But we do have a theme.
We do have a theme today.
Because in the U.S.
Yeah, so this is being recorded right around the time of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and...
before the, quote, holidays.
The holidays, yeah.
In the U.S.
Though I think they do Black Monday, or Black Friday, at least in a little bit worldwide, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, so
I have a quiz for you.
Oh, you have a quiz question for me?
I have a quiz question for you. Too many cues.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Let's have it.
What is the largest shopping day on Earth?
Not in the U.S.
Worldwide.
The largest, you mean the most money spent?
I don't know.
All right. The day after Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it's a good guess. It is actually Singles Day.
Singles Day.
Like most things.
Is this in China?
Yeah, most things. This is a huge thing in China that no one else has heard of.
What's Singles Day?
You know, there are like all these cities in China with 10 million people.
I know.
Which is like bigger than LA, and no one's even heard of their names.
I know. We
did this recently in our trip on New York in a taxi cab.
In the U.S., yeah, things to do in a taxi cab when there's way too much traffic from LaGuardia.
Oh, God.
You read down the list of cities in the world by population, starting at the top with the biggest population.
Mm-hmm.
And U.S. does not appear for a fairly long time on the list.
Other fun activities include guessing the winning president and the losing candidate for every election.
And vice president. I think we did vice president too, but mainly president.
No, it was president and then who lost. Who would they defeat?
From the present going backwards. Yeah, that was another thing we did. But anyway, all right, we're getting way off topic.
1960. So it's Singles Day, which is something no one's ever heard of. What is it, you might ask? It's basically like an anti-Valentine's Day in China. And look, I don't know a whole lot about it. Don't you go research it yourselves.
Or someone from China can write into us and explain it.
But basically, it's like treat yourself.
Oh, it's not...
Treat yourself, as the Parks and Rec would say.
You don't give a present to your favorite person because you're single.
As I understand it, and I could just look it up right now, but I'm not going to. Yeah, you basically, yes, Singles Day. For those who are single,
give themselves a gift. You know, I like this idea, except that I'm not single, so I wouldn't get a gift.
So it's a brilliant strategy to get people to buy stuff.
If you're in a country where there are a lot of people who are single.
Huge. Yeah, so like the amount of sales.
What day of the year is it?
See, that's the thing. I could have done research. I didn't. I think it was last month. Sometime.
Singles Day. All right. Well, we're going to talk. You know what I want to talk about today?
But in the U.S., of course.
It's Black Friday and Cyber Monday.
Really that whole... It's kind of turned into like a holiday in and of itself.
It starts before Thanksgiving and goes through to the end of the
November
year. So it's 6
7th.
weeks long.
Yeah,
there is a buying frenzy in the U.S. And all the retailers and all the consumer product people really hope that it turns out well. And so I thought what we would talk about is the brain science of buying stuff, of making the decision to buy stuff. What do you think?
I think it's good.
All right. So,
Yeah, so what's first?
What's first? I have a quiz for you.
Oh, okay.
All right. So let's see. How do I want to phrase this quiz question?
Okay.
All right. So my quiz for you is... When you are thinking about buying something,
Yep.
and you make the decision. Like, I know you're interested in buying...
This isn't going to be fair. I know all these answers.
You do?
Yeah. I read your research.
Oh, well then I can't ask you the
Well, you
quiz
can ask
question.
the question. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'll just tell you the answer.
Okay.
Recently I was talking to someone and telling them about the fact that when you make a decision to purchase something, it's all about confidence. And there is one neuron in the brain that if it fires, then you buy. It comes down to one neuron when you're trying to make a decision like that. But then I realized this person said, really? There's one neuron? Like the same neuron every time? And then I had to clarify, no. I don't think there's like one specific...
The buying neuron.
Yeah, that's what he which made sense because I was talking about the buying neuron. But the idea is that...
If Walmart could just zap everyone who walks into the store
with just zap that
the
one
neuron.
No.
Yeah.
And it's
put
always
it
the same
put it in the
neuron,
air that
and
triggers
it's
that neuron.
Location L2247.
Could I actually? Well, go ahead, and then I actually have a story about compulsive buying.
Okay, so when you're trying to make a decision about, especially a binary decision like buy, not buy, or buy this one versus buy that one. You just need that one neuron to fire. But what makes that one neuron fire is being confident that you are making the right decision and that now is the right time. So it is actually confidence that causes you to make the purchase.
Mm.
All right, now what did you want to say?
Well, first of all, you can just elaborate, and that explains so... are you going to talk about... Because that explains so...
Yes,
so
I'm going to definitely elaborate.
Okay. So, buying is a strange thing, and it makes a lot of sense that it'd be triggered by neuron firings, because you can compulsively buy. And when I was in Madison... Wisconsin, going to college, okay? I talked to someone, and one day they decided... It was like some night at a party. And they decided what a really smart idea would be to snort a lot of Adderall.
This doesn't sound like a good story.
It's not a bad story. It's just a story.
That sounds like a terrible thing.
You really shouldn't snort Adderall. You really shouldn't.
Adderall is an amphetamine.
Yeah. So Adderall, right?
This wasn't you.
No.
We're not saying you knew someone.
No, this wasn't a
right.
quote friend. No,
Okay.
this was actually someone else.
A stupid friend. And what happened to this
I don't think I've
friend?
actually ever taken Adderall. And I've been in college a lot of times where I knew a lot of people who took a lot of Adderall.
All right. Anyway,
to study for a lot of tests.
Okay, keep going.
But essentially, for those of you who don't know, Adderall, you use it for, and correct me, Susan, if I'm wrong, ADHD, to help.
It's amphetamine.
Help you focus.
It's speed.
So when you snort it, it really amplifies the effects. As of course snorting allows you to go straight into the bloodstream instead of going through the digestive tract. And so the next day he awoke to realize he had spent basically the entire night compulsively shopping online.
And he didn't remember?
No, I think he kind of remembered, but
how much money did he spend?
It was like $2,000, but he had purchased like 150 different little things online. He just started compulsively shopping and like did not stop for hours.
Okay, I don't know. I don't recommend that.
No. My point is though is that it's so interesting because once your brain wants to shop and you get into that neuron firing pattern, right? Like it really is a pattern, and you just it is possible to just compulsively.
Well,
and then there's addiction to shopping.
Well, yes, and I want to talk about. I want to talk about actually the differences between making a decision to purchase something that's a value decision where you've really thought about it and you're comparing this product with that product versus buying something out of habit. Mm. But first I want to finish about this confidence stuff, okay?
Confidence,
yes. So what we know is that if you feel confident, that's when you're going to make the purchase. But it's interesting because it's when you feel confident. So this doesn't really have to do with reality. It's not like all you have to do is get enough information, really high quality information, like about the specs of this phone versus that phone. And then you will be confident, and then you will make the decision. Because some people do it that way.
Fear of loss, right?
What about fear of loss?
My general theory, you'd want to be confident because if you don't want to make the purchase and then be like, regret, right?
Because feel like you've made the wrong one.
Because you've lost the money, because now you have this better product that you could have gotten for the same price, and like, shaking your hands into the sky.
But sometimes, in order to feel confident, you need to get a lot of good information. Sometimes, to feel confident, you just need your go-to person. Like, let's say you're not a very tech person.
Right.
And you
have
kids. That person in your family, right? Your kid, your son, your daughter, your brother-in-law.
What should I get?
Whatever. Should I, is this a good time to buy a phone? Should I buy this one or that one? So sometimes all you need is your go-to. You might not feel confident at all, but then the go-to person says, oh my God, there's this great deal, Cyber Monday deal on the blah, blah, blah phone. You should buy it. And suddenly, without any information, you feel confident, right? So it's individual for the person. It's individual for the purchase. But don't forget, it really has to do with feeling. So if you feel confident. Now, interestingly, if you're the company that makes the product, right, I think there's a tendency, especially if we're talking about tech products or big purchases like cars or something, there's this tendency for the company that makes the product to feel like, well, we need to inundate them with lots of data, because that will make them feel confident. That might actually make someone feel less confident, right? Because it's like, oh my God, I don't even know what these specs mean. Obviously, I'm not ready to make this purchase now. So that's kind of interesting. So that has to do with confidence.
And if you look at, for example, cars, the most successful car manufacturers have very few choices in some respects. So if you look at, like Honda, would you like a big sedan? We have Accord. Would you like, a little sedan? We have a Civic. If you look at Ford trucks, the best-selling truck in America, best-selling vehicle in America for like 30 years, the Ford F-150.
Yeah, doesn't have a lot of choices.
It has some, but if you're right, if you say I'm gonna get a Ford truck, I mean they have because they have the 250, which is bigger, the 350, which is larger, the 450, but the 150.
This is based on the tons of research that shows that when you give people too many options, they don't choose anything at all.
Which we have discussed in the past.
Yes, and Sheena Iyengar's great book, The Art of Choosing, and then also Barry Schwartz's great book, The Paradox of...
Barry Schwartz?
Barry Schwartz,
Barry Schwartz?
Not my uncle Barry Schwartz,
okay.
Another Barry Schwartz. The Paradox of Choice, I think it's called. Yeah, no, it's not my uncle.
Oh, okay.
So definitely, if there's too many choices, people won't buy. Another thing about Black Friday and Cyber Monday is what you mentioned before, the fear of losing. So there's this, if you have one day, when this is when the deals are.
One day only.
And I have to do it today, or I'm going to lose the special deals, right?
Yeah, limited time offer.
Right. That fuels us because that's the reptilian brain. The old brain doesn't want to lose out.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah. I have more to say.
I know.
Go ahead.
I just have a question. I'm actually thinking about athletics.
Athletics?
No, you don't watch a lot of basketball.
I don't. Kind of only when I'm with you.
Yeah. I do. I like basketball.
Yeah.
I like watching and playing.
Yeah.
And there's a thing in sports in general, but especially in basketball, which is all about confidence.
Yes.
So basketball players, right? Some basketball players they can lose confidence, and when they do, their play goes down.
Yes.
And they kind of play timid, meekly, they might have an open shot, but they won't take it.
Yeah.
It's kind of inactive, and in a game where where action is the key to success.
Yes.
And acting quickly and decisively is better. When you lose confidence, that halts, and then your play goes down. And so people talk about, they gotta get their confidence back. Now, could this be part of the same thing where when a sports player is not confident in the outcome or confident in his decision making or whatever, that instead of acting they won't act, much in the same way that you won't buy?
Do you think
these are related?
I think they're somewhat related, but I think in the instance of what you're talking about about the confidence of an athlete playing, doing their sport or performing, I think you're right, absolutely, because if they're not confident, they're not going to decide, right?
Right.
And it's the lack of decision. Should I take the shot or not? Should I go left or should I go right?
Yeah.
That's going to affect them.
Yeah.
But I also think you've got something else operating there, which is when you are performing, and this is maybe, I'll just mention it and then we can do another podcast episode on this topic. When you are performing a task that is a physical task involving motor skills that you know really well, right? So this would be true of a lot of, especially a professional athlete, right? They know how to dribble the ball. They're not even thinking about it.
Right, it's all muscle
very
memory.
Similar to someone playing, a professional musician playing an instrument. When you are doing that, if you start thinking, you've got, if it's a motor task, there are motor neuron pathways that you have very strongly built up from doing that task over and over and over again. And you are largely playing that game, performing your athletic game unconsciously. And when you start thinking about it, you've got the thinking part of the brain is now getting a lot of resource, and so that motor neuron part that's just going to do it automatically gets goofed up. So probably they are second guessing themselves. They're interrupting the normal motor pathways. They're interrupting their unconscious processing that allows them to perform so well.
Do you hear that, Houston Rockets? You should call her. Bring her on.
Oh, yeah.
Houston
I
Rockets.
could definitely, I would be a great person to call for advice on athletics since I know nothing about it. But I do know about the brain science of it. And I also know, there's a whole nother thing we could go into. Yeah, that would be interesting. We could do the brain science of sports performance episode, even though I don't know much about sports, because I do know about the brain. But there's this other thing that happens is when you... lots of research, and anyone who does sports training knows this. When you have athletes practice in their imagination, their brain neuron pathways fire as though they are practicing, and so it's in some studies it's as good as actually doing the practicing.
That's great.
Because actually then you can practice perfectly in your imagination, and you are actually making those neuron pathways stronger.
So can I tell just two quick stories?
Yes.
About this?
Yeah.
You don't know who Carl Schwarber is?
No. Should
But
I?
he plays for no, not really. He plays for the Cubs.
Okay.
Baseball. World Series Championship, Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, this year.
By the way, I live 3 blocks from Wrigley. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Not really Cubs.
Where they weren't even playing, but the crowds were there cheering.
They played 3 games there.
Yeah,
so
but in the final.
He was injured. And he was injured in such a way that he could not swing his bat.
Okay.
This is for like months.
Okay, that's not good.
Generally not good for trying to hit a curveball.
He practiced in his head.
It was better than that.
Yeah.
What he did was he had, I don't know the specifics, but he had some sort of contraption whereby it was like a screen that would visualize that it looked like the pitches were coming in.
Oh, okay.
And so he would stand in front of it and look at like 1,000 different professional pitchers coming at him and visualize the swing in his mind.
Yeah.
And he did it like 1,000 times. And so normally after you miss months at baseball, you're rusty.
You're in bad shape, right.
He came in within a week after being cleared from the doctors and went like 3 for 5 in the World Series against the best pitching in the world.
I have a question about that.
And
with this device he was using, did he get? He was just thinking, so he didn't get any feedback.
I think because the swing was in his mind. Yeah. So But I really don't know the specifics of it. I really don't.
That would be the only thing that would be helpful.
Yeah. Sure.
Anyway.
So that's. Yeah, so that's a perfect example.
So we'll have to do an episode on that. All right, let's go back to buying. So we talked about confidence.
Yeah.
So if you can make people feel. What?
I had one more question.
Oh, you had another story. I thought you had 2 stories.
Well, but it's really
okay. What's the question?
Form of a question. So, when you're confident, you make decisions, right? You will pull the trigger.
You'll pull the trigger.
And buy something, in this case.
Yes.
Is there any study that you know of, and you very well may not, that shows that a confident decision is more likely than not a better decision? So the way I'm thinking about it is, let's say you're the president of the United States and someone comes to you with 2 courses of action on a very complicated situation.
See, I knew you'd get back to politics, we said we were not talking about politics.
What's the Groucho Marx country?
I don't know. I think he had something Tania. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Herscheltania or something. You're the president of Herscheltania. I really wish I remember what that was. I'll think of it, I'm sure, as soon as we're done with the podcast. And your advisor comes to you with 2 courses of action on a very complicated topic, right? Will you make a better decision if your advisor comes to you with 2 potential courses of action, right? We either do this or do that. Or if he comes to you with all the possible, with like 8, right? Now, it'll be harder for you to make a decision, obviously, but as president, you have to make a decision. Will you end up make a better one if you have to think about things really hard, or if you have fewer options and it's easier to kind of be confident in your decision?
I don't know of research about this.
Okay, because that would have a lot of applicability. For example, in the boardroom, CEOs, any kind of executive decision. I'm gonna have to
think about it.
Okay.
I do.
You may not know.
I'll have to think about that. I'll have to see if I can find something on that. So we'll have to write that down and come back to it. I do know that I'm going to guess that, or actually I'm not going to guess. I know that if you have fewer choices, you are less likely to feel regretful about your decision afterwards. Because if you have a lot of choices, then you'll be second guessing and saying, "Oh, I don't know, maybe that wasn't the best choice."
But we don't know if it's actually a better choice.
It's a better choice. Right. Yeah, I'll have to think about that one.
Okay.
All right. So the other thing we know about decisions, of course, and about buying decisions, because we've talked about decision making before. So just to remind everyone, all of this is largely unconscious. And in fact, when you make a buying decision, you won't be aware that you have made a decision and what decision you've made until about 7 to 10 seconds after the decision is made. So researchers can actually peer into your brain and see that you have made a decision and which one you've decided, if it's 2 choices, for instance, and before you know. It's kind of a weird thing.
Just a little clarification. They put you in a fMRI machine.
Yeah, and they can see
and they tell you when you've decided, press the button of which one you've decided.
When you've decided, let us know.
No, right.
And then
are you going with the red dot or the green dot?
Right, and when you've decided, let us know, and let us know which one it is.
And they see the brain center light up before you...
They see the brain center light up. They actually see the motor center start to move the hand or arm over here to the left one. and the person still hasn't indicated that they know yet.
So the hand is literally moving
the
towards...
The hand is starting to move, and the person doesn't even realize it. And then the person will go, I've decided I'm going to do the red one. But they knew. They could tell which neuron had
The brain
fired.
is so fun.
The brain is very fun. All right. Now, here's something I think is really interesting. I think all of this is interesting. Here's 2 more things I wanted to talk. Well, maybe 3 more things.
4 more.
Yeah. I don't
10 more. 1 more song.
You have to feel. Before you can buy.
There seems to be a common thread.
There is? What?
Basically, it's all about humans feeling.
It is about human feeling. But there are people who, for instance, part of their brain has been damaged and they don't have feelings. No, there are.
Can I ask you, does like the emotion come but they don't have any reaction to it, or like literally they can't, or do you not know?
Oh, we still don't understand about the we don't understand about because emotions have a brain component, neuron component, and they also have a chemical component.
Right.
If you feel happy, if you feel sad, if you feel angry,
right.
there are chemicals that flood your body as well as things going on in your brain.
Yeah, and
the interesting question is do you feel angry first and then you're flooded with the chemical, or are you flooded with the chemical and then you have the experience of being angry?
So I come from a long line of hangry people, in which when we get hungry, we get angry, right? Like, because it's not right, and it's not really that we're angry. And to me, right, I can feel that my body has been flooded with this like kind of grumpy chemical, and then when I eat, like it just magically goes away, chemical. Right? So it's like I always the idea that it was a kind of a biological kind of chemical reaction always made sense to me.
Although it's interesting because the people that can't feel have brain damage, so maybe we do know it's in the brain because they're not experiencing feelings. Anyway, people who don't experience feelings, they're not happy, they're not sad, they're not angry, they're not joyful, they're not anything.
It's gotta be so weird.
They can't make decisions. So, and they can't
can't make decisions. Because I know this research, but our audience may not completely
You'll
understand the
say, do you want to buy this phone or that phone? And they'll just shrug. I don't know. I don't care. Either one. Whatever you think I should do. It's like they can't choose. They just don't have an opinion. They don't have I don't know. It's so hard. I was about to say they don't have a feeling that one would be better than another, but
I was
because
under the
it is a
impression
feeling.
that sometimes this was much more extreme. Like pick if you want like spaghetti or a hamburger today. And they're like, I don't know. Where it was like, would you would you like to like save this dog or not save this dog?
Oh yeah, I think they have a very difficult time making any decision.
And it's literally
whatsoever.
Like they can't.
Big decisions.
They don't know.
Big decisions, small decisions. Yeah.
Right. Like would you crash into this or not crash into this? It's like.
So we know
they
that
just don't know.
That feelings are really important to buying. So if you want, all of you, really we should have done this episode like months ago, because now all the companies that are trying to sell people things, it's too late to change it now. So for those of you who do work for a company that wants to sell things, and you count especially consumer products on this end of year sales thing, make notes about next year, right? To do this. So you want to get people feeling emotional. And that's why sometimes, like in ads and stuff, they're just trying to increase what psychologists call the level of arousal. Just like they'll have a high-speed car chase, even if it doesn't have anything, and then the guy opens the car door and hands someone a Pepsi, it's just because it's just the high-speed chase and the danger, and now I'm feeling excited, I'm feeling scared, and now, it's time to go buy some Pepsi. So, you got to get people feeling stuff. They have to feel emotions if you want them to make a decision. Okay. I got another one.
Yeah.
which is there are basically two really different kinds of decisions that people make when they're buying something, and they occur in two really different parts of the brain. And one of them is this a value-based decision, which is kind of what we've been talking about for most of the time, like, should I buy this or this one or that one? Or is this a good time to make this purchase, right? This is what's called a value decision. And that happens in a certain part of your brain. But we also make buying decisions based on habit. And that occurs in a different part of your brain. And the interesting thing is that when one part of your brain is active, the value part, the habit part can't be active. Or if the habit part is active, the value part can't be. For some odd reason, these two can't. When one is active, the other one shuts off. Now, we're not talking about for like days or even hours. It's just momentary. But it's an interesting idea, which means you have to decide, is when people buy your product, are they making a value-based decision or are they making a habit decision? And you should choose one, and then you should make sure you don't. Well, let me give you an example. Let's say, and I think brand loyalty fits in here. So let's say, I was talking about, Pepsi and Coke. Let's say you're a Pepsi person. You have brand loyalty to Pepsi. You really like Pepsi. That's the soda you like to drink. And it is a habit, right? You go to the store and you just reach for the 6-pack of Pepsi.
Can I actually ask a couple questions?
Yes. Because I'm in the same room with you, I can see that you're frowning. Your brain is really working here.
I don't understand what a habit purchase looks like.
What a habit purchase looks like.
Yeah.
A habit purchase is a purchase you make without really thinking about it.
Oh, I understand, but I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of any purchases that I do that are habit purchases.
You don't make any purchases out of habit?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, we've established in previous podcast episodes that you're weird.
Yeah.
So the rest of us, you don't have any brand loyalty?
I have brands I like more than others.
Well, okay. If you're in the grocery store and you're buying hair conditioner, do you tend to buy the same hair conditioner?
No, I try lots of different ones.
Oh. I only asked you that because I've been in the store with you when we've been on trips together, and you tend to always buy the same hair conditioner. No, but do something I would buy more often. I just don't buy. You don't buy very much hair conditioner. Yeah. Food, drinks.
I don't. So like
clothing.
So okay. So like food. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna buy milk.
Yeah.
I go to the store.
Yeah.
And I look at my choices.
Yeah.
And then, depending on, like, for each store, there's the milk that's, like, the best price value at that store.
Yeah, you're making a value decision.
So, like, at Whole Foods, I get, like, Whole Foods milk.
Yeah.
And I get organic.
Okay, but if you're at... All right, wait a minute. So, if you're at Whole Foods...
Uh-huh.
And you need to pick up milk...
I'll go and I'll stand and look at all the milks.
Oh, God.
And I'll look at their prices, and I'll sit there for like 30 seconds before I make a decision.
All right, well then, I don't know how... All right, let me tell... Since I haven't figured this out, what is for you a habit decision,
That's what I was trying to think. Like, because you said habit decisions, that I could not understand that.
Let's just say that the rest of the world, many people listening to this episode, make habit decisions.
If I go in for a Potbelly sandwich...
Yes.
I stand there and I look at the menu for like a minute and think really hard about what I want and what toppings I want.
Fine. So maybe We're going to do brain surgery a little later, and we're going to or put you in an fMRI machine and look and see what is wrong with your brain. All right, so you're going to have to just trust us then, that there are people out there that make habit buying decisions. Okay? Can you just?
Oh, yeah.
Can you trust that that's true? Because otherwise, everything I'm saying right now doesn't make any sense.
I hadn't thought about that before.
So if someone all right, I'm going to just ignore that whole conversation. If someone makes a habit buying decision, if that's what they usually do, and then you give them a bunch of information,
yeah,
it's going to mess up the purchase. Because they're going to do what you do, and they're going to stand there and evaluate and think about it. Whereas before, not you, but other people would have just grabbed the milk off the shelf and put it in the cart.
I don't think I buy anything out of habit.
Yes, I'm getting that impression. But other people do. So you are a brand marketer's nightmare.
It's true. I also dislike advertising, and it never seems effective on me.
But I think you're now we know why. But I think you're unusual.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I think most people either make a goal-directed, value-based buying decision, or they buy from habit. But the idea, anyway, is that people don't do both at the same time. So you need to know kind of which is your, for your audience and your product, which one it is. That's what you need to know.
So, just the audience, I just want to know that right now it is snowing the size of $50. This is the giant,
why did you
the
want them
largest
to know that?
snowflakes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is snowing in Wisconsin.
It is, but seriously, they're like 3 inches across.
Yeah.
These snowflakes are huge.
Yeah. That's what happens when you live in Wisconsin.
The Eskimos have 7 different...
I've heard that that's like an urban legend.
It's probably not true. But it would make a lot of sense, actually. Because this is
7
different
words
snow.
for snow.
Yeah, well, this is a totally different snow than your cold snow, which is a different snow from your
This is a
snow.
wet snow.
This is a wet snow.
Yeah, which is why the flakes are so big.
They're huge. Anyways, I was just I just
okay. Sorry, we distracted him. I have a big window in my office where we're recording this, and he can see the snow falling. Right, it's a lot of snow falling.
What's the first? It's the first snowfall I've seen of the year, so it's all very exciting. Yeah.
All right. So, what else? Is there anything else? There's one more thing I can think of that has to do with the brain and buying, and this buying season.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What if you would like to purchase less? Any strategies that you can take to purchase less? Oh, you mean
if you're trying to stick to a budget and you don't want to spend all your money and trying to be reasonable.
Trying to be
You're trying to be Scrooge.
You open up your closet and you see that you have 6 pairs of shoes you like that you purchased forever ago that you've never worn, and you're like, why do I do this? I have so many pairs of shoes. I'm never gonna wear these. I don't want to just buy a bunch of stuff as I've been doing.
Well, one thing you can do is, if you tend to this wouldn't be true for you because you don't make habit purchases, but if you were a person who tended to make habit purchases, one thing to do then would be to make it a very conscious decision to just tell yourself you're not going to buy anything during this buying season for yourself or for other people until you think about it. And so you force yourself to make a goal-directed value decision, and that will essentially turn off the habit decisions for as long as you can hold on to that. All the things that, if you talk to, the radio shows have all kinds of, probably podcasts have all kinds of episodes on right now about, how to not spend too much money during the holiday, set a budget, right? make a list. But all those things are really just things that will get the value-directed part of your brain going. I mean, that's why they work, because they cause you to stop. They cause you perhaps to not be confident, right, of the decision, or that it's the right decision, or that it's worth the money. Just
because it doesn't fit in my budget.
Right. So you're wrecking. So you
just end up. It's like eating less by eating less calories by consuming lots of zucchini noodles. Like you're filling.
I don't know, but you're wrecking the confidence part, and so you're therefore not pulling the trigger all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Zucchini noodles are sneaky good, by the way.
Zucchini noodles are very good.
Spiralizer.
They are off topic today, but they're very good.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about was anticipation.
Okay.
So, I think we've talked about this maybe in another episode about dopamine and anticipation, but I want to bring it up again because it has to do with buying. So, dopamine is a chemical that makes you take action, makes you curious, makes you feel good, and it gets released when you are anticipating something. And so if you buy something online, not in a store, but you buy it online, which means you don't get it right away, and that means you anticipate that it's coming, and that will just fuel your dopamine. That will fuel you to take more action. That'll fuel you to be more curious. That'll fuel you to look up the next, I wonder what the next item is I should buy. Or in the case where you've got these, does Amazon do this anymore with the deals? There's a deal of the hour, the deal,
You're
now.
kidding, right?
No, because they used to do that, but I haven't paid any attention to it.
Not only that, that's how they do Black Friday, is they literally start November 1st or 7th or something, and they just have literally deals all the way basically through Christmas that run every 5 minutes. There's a new one.
Yeah. Well, see, that is a dopamine fueling. I mean, that's just going to fuel dopamine, which is going to make you
That's how they set it up.
More interested and more interested and more interested, and that's, I don't know if they know that.
The problem is that with
then
those
do you
deals,
burn out?
No, it's not that. The deals all suck. It's like 10% off some, like a phone charger.
Do you think though that? But do you check it out?
I do, but I found that I end up not making any purchases because there are too many deals, and so it's like too many options, and I don't know which one to go for, and two, it's like because it's all the things on Amazon, which is literally like everything on Earth.
Yeah.
So if I see something I like let's say I see like a monitor.
Yeah.
It's completely out of context, and so I'm like, oh, is that like a good one, or
right? Is that one of the ones I'm interested in or not?
Right, because it's like next to a watch and next to a bunch of stuff, right? Whereas if they were just having like Newegg, right? The only thing they do is basically computer hardware. Yeah. Right. So when they have deals, they you're on like the page, you can see all the different monitors.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I find myself just not jumping on Amazon deals, but maybe again I'm weird.
But what Amazon deals might do, if you're getting them, is it just might fuel your interest in purchasing something.
Yeah. That's probably true, actually. That makes a lot of sense.
And are you when you're looking at the deal, are you at their site?
Of course.
Well, there you go. And so then you go, oh yeah, I thinking.
I need olive oil.
Right, absolutely.
I buy my olive oil on Amazon.
It's, right, it's getting you.
101 ounce.
It's getting you, getting that anticipation, getting the dopamine going, and then you purchase something. I wonder if I'd be really curious to know if anyone from Amazon knows this, they can contact us. If they know that, and so that at least part of the idea is not that they care whether you buy that deal, it's just that they care that they're buying.
They are so analytics driven over there.
They must know that.
They must know that when they run deals, the actual sale of those products is up marginally, but the rest of site sales go through the roof.
Yeah.
They gotta know.
I don't know. I would think that.
Well, they stole it from Woot.
What's Woot?
Do you know Woot.com?
Wow, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Woot.com kind of made its claim to fame a couple years ago, in which what they would have is basically at any given time they would have one Woot, and it was like one thing a day. That was just crazy cheap.
Yeah.
Right. So like, we've come across these little like hand massage balls.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They're like 90% off.
Yeah. And this was live. There would be people talking about them.
Yeah, and they had a whole kind of commentary on it.
Yeah.
They was done in like a quirky way.
Yeah. I remember
they had
this.
like for a while
Does
they had
that still exist?
the box of junk.
Yes.
Right? Where
yes.
so for like $15
Does
you just get like a bag and it would have some random stuff in it and you don't know.
Are they still around?
They got bought by Amazon.
Oh,
A couple of years ago. Yeah. They're still around and they do stuff and I don't think they're as big as they were or as niche as they are, because now everyone does it. Like Newegg does it and Amazon does it. But yeah, they got bought by Amazon, I'm pretty sure, for a bunch of money. So I'm sure Amazon's well aware.
That's really interesting. So this also then, this anticipation thing, this dopamine anticipation thing, also means that in a lot of ways people prefer online shopping than they do going to a store.
I know I certainly do.
Because you get to anticipate that your product is going to arrive. And even if you do free 2-day shipping, you don't know exactly when it's going to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to arrive in the morning or in the afternoon? And will it really come on Tuesday? And all these things that you would think would be negative, right? Because you'd think people want control. But actually what people want is anticipation. And that's what they love. So anyway, that's I think that might be. You
come home and the little box is on the step. He's like, oh, I totally forgot that I bought gloves.
That's right. Oh, I get a prize. I get a present that I.
That's how I feel when I get mail.
Yeah. Physical mail or email. Either way.
Just physical mail. No one ever sends me anything. So I get like a little flyer. That's like, oh. I've been pre-approved for a credit card. This is the best time.
Okay, I don't get excited about that because...
I need more friends. What's the...
People send Guthrie a card.
Fine.
What's the what? You said what's the...
No, I'm good.
Okay. So, do you have any other questions about the brain science of buying?
No, I'm sure we'll have lots more brain science stuff coming up, and I want to ask them then. I thought I had some good, pertinent questions today.
You did. And as usual, we found out that your brain is weird.
Yep.
Which is no surprise
Another
anymore
fun segment
to
there.
us or our listeners.
All right, let's wrap up.
All right, listen, we've been getting some fun emails from people with ideas for shows, for topics, and we're going to do those. We'll do. I think we'll do one of our listeners' idea next time. If you have ideas about what you'd like us to talk about, please email us. And here's the email address. info
@theteamw.com. TheTeamW.com.
Please like us on whatever service you use to listen to our podcast. Please give us a rating. That would really, really help us and get the word out. And anything else, Guthrie?
Yes. We offer these cool online courses, and they're really quite cheap at courses.theteamw.com. And we are busy at work coming out with a whole new certificate that's going to be at least 6 courses, and we have another 6 planned after that. So we had a furious summer travel busy schedule, and now we are busy in the studio. In fact, all basically 90% of the film is already on camera. It's already filmed, done, and we're in editing process. So keep an eye out for that. We got a lot of new cool content. A lot of fun stuff. So, did you want to say what it was going to be about, or is that still hush hush?
I'll say a little bit, and then I'm sure that we'll say more in upcoming weeks. So our next, we have our user experience certificate curriculum right now. That one we've had for a while. And our new one is the Brain and Behavioral Science Certificate and curriculum of courses. I am really, really excited about that. So when we have, and we should have that up, I'm hoping by the end of the year. So so you can anticipate and get your buying brain going and get confident that you want to purchase it. But
there's only two options. There's the UX cert and there's the behavioral cert, so you'll have to pick one of two.
Yeah, we're going to have a problem in the future because we have much more. Anyway, we'll talk more about that on future episodes, but if you have any questions, just email us info@theteamw.com, and thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.